Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a village built on the edge of a magnificent forest, there lived a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. The villagers gave her this name because of her red cloak and cap that she never took off. Living with her family in a cottage, one of her favorite things was to wander through the woods and explore. One day, her mother told her that her grandmother, who lived on the other side of the forest, is sick, and then they had to bring her some food. Little Red Riding Hood filled a basket with fresh fruits and set off. Her mother warned Little Red Riding Hood to be careful and not to talk to strangers while she was leaving the house. Walking down the path to her grandmother, Little Red Riding Hood came across rare flowers and tiny streams accompanying her on her path. Suddenly, a wolf stood up against her and cut off the little girl's way. Trying to sound well-intentioned, he asked,
"Where are you going, little girl?"
She replied to the wolf, who was smiling with good intentions, describing the house of her sick grandmother, who lived at the other end of the forest, and said that she was taking her food. The wolf, who was already hungry, was excited when he thought of the feast he could have at Grandma's house. He told Little Red Riding Hood that he knew the way home and could accompany her if she wanted to. Little Red Riding Hood, on the other hand, remembered her mother's warnings about talking to strangers and thanked the wolf and left quickly. However, Wolf had smelled the feast, and he was starving. He immediately made a plan. He would get to Grandma's house before Little Red Riding Hood and deceive the grandmother and wipe out all the food in the house. As soon as he got home, he walked towards the chicken coop and frightened the chickens to make them crow altogether. The voices had caught Grandma's attention. She got up from her bed and put on a sweater and walked outside. The wicked wolf, who carried out the plan, went in and devoured what was in the refrigerator. At that moment, the voice of Little Red Riding Hood approaching the house with her basket full of food, saying Grandma was heard. The wolf grabbed Grandma's dressing gown and got into the bed, pulling the duvet up to her nose and trying to hide. Little Red Riding Hood came to the wolf, who she thought was her grandmother, and showed her the basket full of food and told her she brought her favorite fresh fruits. The wolf replied, trying to imitate his grandmother's voice. But Little Red Riding Hood sensed that something was wrong. She asked her grandmother, "Grandma, why is your voice so deep?" The wolf disguised as Grandma said she sounded like that because she was sick. Noticing the wolf's ears at that moment, Little Red Riding Hood asked, "Why are your ears so big?"
"To hear you better."
The wolf replied, "And why are your teeth so sharp?"
"To eat all your food faster."
Unable to stand it any longer, Wolf opened the quilt, took Little Red Riding Hood's basket as it quickly jumped out of the bed. Just as the wolf was about to flee, a hunter passing by saw the grandmother near the coop and entered the garden. It was then that he noticed the wolf. Quickly catch the wolf took the basket back. Wolf regretted what he had done and was afraid of the hunter. Once again, the hunter and grandmother warned Little Red Riding Hood to be wary of strangers as she wanders around the forest. Little Red Riding Hood had learned her lesson to be wary of and distrust strangers, no matter how well-intentioned they may seem.